She didn't believe in fate until a stranger started predicting her emotions through books. It began with the note inside Jane Eyre. Chapter 27 will break you in a way you'll thank later. A fellow reader, she thought it was a coincidence until chapter 27 broke her exactly the way he said it would. And the next day, there was another book waiting for her with another note from the same handwriting, but this time he wasn't just recommending books. He was reacting to her, as if he could see her reading them, as if she wasn't alone in the pages. That was the moment she should have stopped. But she didn't, because now it felt like someone was reading her life, one book at a time. Nora Hayes didn't tell anyone about it, not at first, because it sounded insane. A stranger leaving notes inside books and somehow responding to her thoughts. But it wasn't random anymore. It had structure, memory, continuity. He remembered what she said in previous notes. He referenced her reactions, even corrected himself sometimes, as if he was building a conversation that never stopped. One day she wrote, "I think you choose sad books on purpose, Nora." The next week, he replied, "I choose books that feel honest. Not sad, honest. YFR." And then he left her something new, a book she had never heard of, with a note. "This one will explain me better than I can." That terrified her because it felt personal. To personal dot, after 6 weeks, something changed. The notes stopped being safe. They became emotional, human, almost unstable. "I didn't come here yesterday. I told myself I wouldn't check if you replied. I lied. YFR." That was the first time she realized this wasn't just flirting. This was dependency forming on paper. So she wrote something dangerous back. "Why are you doing this with me, Nora?" The response came 2 days later. No book. Just a note hidden under the counter where she usually stood. "Because you were the first person who made me feel like I wasn't thinking into a void." YFR. And below it, "And now I'm scared what happens if you stop answering." That was the first time she stopped smiling while reading his notes. Then he disappeared. No book, no note, nothing. A week passed. Then two. Nora told herself it was over, that she imagined it, that people don't build relationships inside bookstores. But she kept checking anyway. Every shelf felt wrong. Every book felt empty. Until the third week. She found a single note inside one day. Different handwriting at first glance. But it wasn't. It was him. Just slower. Heavier. "I needed to stop. Because I was starting to care more about someone I didn't know than I understood how to handle." YFR. Her hands went cold. Because this wasn't a disappearance. It was fear. The next note changed everything. It wasn't inside a book. It was placed directly on the shelf where she always stood, waiting. "If you still want this, meet me at Green's Books, Saturday, 2 p.m. No explanations. No safety net. Just reality." And below it, "If you don't come, I'll understand. I'll stop." That last line hurt more than anything before it because it wasn't dramatic. It was final. She almost didn't go. Not because she didn't want to, but because she did, and that was worse. Because wanting something real meant it could break her in real time. No one. Still nothing. Her chest tightened. It was never real. It was just notes. It's just imagination. Then, "Are you Nora?" She turned.
He wasn't what she expected. Not mysterious, not dramatic, just tired, like someone who had been overthinking for months. "I'm Oliver," he said. "I work in the bookstore supply chain. I deliver books here twice a week." That detail hit differently. Not owner, not stranger in fantasy distance, but someone who had been physically there the entire time. "I started leaving notes by accident," he admitted. One day I just left one in Jane Eyre. I didn't think anyone would respond. He swallowed. And then you did. He looked at her like he was afraid she might disappear if he blinked. I didn't plan anything after that, he said. I just kept going because it was the only thing in my life that felt real. Silence. Then Nora asked the only question that mattered. Why me? And he answered, because you didn't respond like a stranger. You responded like someone who was already halfway in the conversation. That landed harder than anything romantic. Because it wasn't attraction, it was recognition. Coffee came later. No instant chemistry speech. No cinematic perfection. Just awkward honesty at first. Then slowly. Flow. He wasn't confident. He wasn't smooth. He was careful, thoughtful in real time, the same way he wrote. And that's when Nora realized something uncomfortable. The version of him in her head had been better, and the real version was more human, less perfect, more dangerous, because now she had to decide, was she in love with the idea or the person? They didn't rush anything. No proposal, no fantasy ending, just walking, talking, testing reality against imagination. At one point, Oliver said, I think we were braver in writing than in real life. Nora replied, no, I think writing just made us honest before we were ready to be seen. He nodded. That scared him more than anything else she had said, because it was true. Before leaving, she placed a note inside Jane Eyre. One last time. We started in fiction. Let's see if we survive reality. Nora. He didn't reply with a book this time. He just stood beside her and said, I think I'd rather fail in real life than succeed in margins. And for the first time, there were no notes between them. Just two people, finally reading each other directly.